What's up guys, Nax Tech here, and this is going to be a video showing the LG Nexus 4 versus the iPhone 5 in a spec comparison. I'm going to start off with the price here. As you can see, the Nexus 4 shows a no contract SIM free price, whereas the iPhone 5 shows you a contracted price. That's pretty stupid, because we know the iPhone 5 in dollars is what, like $700, $800? In comparison, the LG Nexus 4 is $299 and $349 SIM free as well. So that is an absolute massive price difference. Google really priced this thing brilliantly. It is an absolute steal. I'm definitely going to be buying one of these, just because, I mean, in the UK the 16GB model is 280 quid. It is basically it's just amazing for a phone at that quality. You know, it's really high spec and it's going to be great. Let's move on. Operating system, it's going to be running Android 4.2 versus iOS 6. Well, that versus battle is always subjective. You know, if you like Android, Android is better. If you like iOS, iOS is better. So it's kind of a draw there. Display. Now we've got a 4.7 inch versus a 4 inch. So we've got 0.7 inch bigger all the way around. IPS plus LCD. The LG Nexus 4 wins in resolution. It's got 1280 by 768, which is a really good resolution. 320 ppi. The iPhone 5 has a 4-inch Retina LCD at 1136 by 640, which is 326 ppi. So it's got a lower resolution, the iPhone 5, but a higher pixel density, but only by 6. So the screen on the LG Nexus 4 is going to be really nice. Processor, Snapdragon S4 Pro. I've done so many videos on the S4 Pro. It's a quad core with crate architecture. It is a beast. It's very strong. It's got the new Adreno 320 graphics. It's going to be great for the Nexus line. I'm really happy they put that in. The iPhone 5's A6 dual core. Don't let the dual core kind of disappoint you. Even though the S4 Pro is very good, this A6 dual core is also very good. It is new architecture on the dual core. It's got very strong graphics. It's probably going to be pretty comparable in terms of performance. In fact, in the benchmarks, I actually think the S4 Pro slightly beat out the A6, but only by a little bit, so it's quite good. RAM, 2GB of RAM on the LG Nexus 4. That's really nice for Android. I think it needs it. iPhone 5 gets 1GB of RAM. Again, iOS isn't as RAM heavy, so it doesn't really need it. So it's better to have 2 gigs. So yeah. LG Nexus 4 storage. I don't know why they made an 8GB version, but they did it anyway. I don't know how many people are going to buy it, because, you know, realistically you're going to get 5 gig out of that, and that's not enough. You know, put 3 or 4 big games on it and you've used all your space. So I'll be going for the 16GB version. The iPhone 5 has more options, so it wins out. It's got 16, 32 and 64. Now I'm sure Google is probably going to end up dropping the 8 gig model and releasing a 32 gig model, which is what they did with the Nexus 7. So that could happen. Cameras, we all know the iPhone 5 has a brilliant camera. The LG Nexus 4 has a Sony BSI sensor. I don't know how good that is, but it seems like it'd probably be quite good. 8 megapixel rear, 1.3 front. Pretty much the same on the iPhone 5, except 1.2 megapixel front. Both will do HD 1080p at 30 frames per second, so brilliant. Battery life, you've got to give it to the Nexus 4 here. They've put a great battery in it at 2,100 mAh compared to the 1440 in the iPhone 5. The LG has a bigger screen and a quad-core processor, so it might drain a bit quicker. But the battery is really good, and the LG Nexus 4, it wins out. Network and connectivity, you've got to give it to the iPhone 5. They went with LTE and all that stuff. So people that love LTE, there's your option with the iPhone 5. The LG Nexus 4 didn't have LTE, and the Google executives said that they didn't go with LTE because they wanted to see how it evolved. You know, there's loads of different sorts of LTE, so they wanted to see which one was going to win out, and then they'll choose that probably for the next Nexus device. This HSPA Plus though is still very good. It actually goes up to 42 meg, so you can get 42 meg download speeds if you're in that right area. NFC and wireless charging for the LG Nexus 4. The iPhone 5 has neither. That's really nice. I love the fact that they've done the wireless charging thing. Kind of Palm Pre-esque actually, exactly the same way how that works, but it's nice to have nonetheless. Ports, we've got the standard micro USB versus the lightning port. That's how you want. I prefer the micro USB. Dimensions, you can see, I'm not going to look at these dimensions because we know that phone's a bit bigger, therefore it's going to be a bit thicker, but 7.6mm versus 9.1, so it is a bit thicker and it is a bit heavier. 139 versus 112. So yeah, it's the iPhone 5 wins out in some categories, but you know, I'm sure I'm going to get slated for this in the comments, but I'm going to side with the LG Nexus 4, mainly because, you know, it's got a great resolution screen. It's pretty much there with the pixel density, a great processor, 2 GB of RAM, and for such a cheap price, you know, a better battery as well. I just think it wins out here, but at the end of the day, it's just going to come down to what you like. If you want iOS 6, you're going to go for the iPhone 5. If you want the latest and greatest Android, you're going to go for the LG Nexus 4. That's how close the competition is these days, but I am going to side, I think the Nexus 4 wins out. It's going to be my next phone, so I'm a bit biased about it. I'm really excited about it because I think it looks really nice as well, but you know, that's just me. So yeah, let me know what you guys think, what phones you're going to be getting, what you think about these phones. Yeah, see you later.